in brightest day, in blackest night. No evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power. Green Lantern's light. Pretty cool, huh?
Hi everybody, I'm Chad Bokelman.
I'm Mark Marble.
And this is the LanternCast.
Episode 179.
Yeah. We keep going with these reviews. I already feel like we need to take a break.
We'll be right back, everybody.
After these messages, we'll be right back. So this episode, we're going to, like we said last time, we'll be covering Green Lantern 25, 26, and 27. Play a little catch-up there. We were hoping to get caught up before that, before we had to do it this way, but, I take the blame. So what we'll do is we'll do it like we did the first few review episodes. Mark will take 25 and 27, I'll take 26, and we'll do it that way, and at the end of the episode will be your listener feedback. So, really no preamble to this. Why don't you go ahead, Mark?
So we begin with Green Lantern 25, written by Robert Venditti, penciler Billy Tan, and inker Rob Hunter. The cover shows Kilowog and Hal being bombarded. Almost it looks like they're fighting Gambit. It almost looks like with like orange card-like things being thrown at them, with the title "Courage Under Fire." So we begin the issue where we left off, basically at the end of Lights Out, where the Lanterns are still the Green Lanterns, and as we'll find out, still Carol. But the Green Lanterns are on Mogo, which is the new home world of the Green Lantern Corps, and Hal is not confronting as in angrily, but confused, conversationally confronting Graf, Tomar, and Hanu, because they basically have refused to use the ring anymore now that they know their rings, now that they know that the emotional spectrum is always being drained and they're contributing to the decay of the universe. And Hal first thinks that the three of them are going to resign, but they basically say, well, no, we're just going to try to prove we can patrol our sectors without using our rings, which for Hanu obviously wouldn't be particularly difficult because he tries not to use his ring anyway. But that's going to be their philosophy. Hal tries to encourage them that, despite the fact that, yes, the emotional spectrum might be finite, but look how long it took to drain it the first time, and we do so much more good than bad, and there's so many threats. They need us. The universe needs us more than ever. And he kind of interestingly goes off on a rant talking about, sure, the Indigo Tribe is helpful, but they're only, one step away from being psychos again if their rings go down, and the Star Sapphires only love us sometimes, which of course is a not so subtle dig at Carol, and she picks up on it. And Hal makes the borderline, to him anyway, great decision that one of the things that the Green Lantern Corps is going to set out to do now to try to prevent the emotional spectrum from being drained so quickly is to basically patrol and limit the use of light in the universe, that they're going to basically dictate who is an authorized user and who's not, which of course Carol doesn't take very kindly to that and kind of like flips him the bird, though covers it up with construct hands. And she kind of points out that basically who kind of gives them the authority to do that. I get the feeling from you that basically anybody who's not wearing green is going to be an unauthorized ring bearer. And so Carol and Hal continue to have the little discussion, and she points out that this is going to have repercussions. The Sapphires are going to know about what you did here, yada yada yada. And Carol flies off, kind of leaving them all on their own back to kind of sort all this out. Kilowog kind of has a few, has a little bit, and John Stewart to a certain extent too. They kind of have a laugh at Hal's expense. And later we cut to later on Mogo, where they're all sitting around the campfire, John, Kilowog, and Hal. And basically John and Kilowog both have things they want to express to Hal, basically that they don't entirely agree with his decision. And John's pointing out, you're basically declaring war that if you're going to really try to limit the amount of who's using the spectrum and who's not, especially when we're using the spectrum basically to prevent other people from using it. So Hal, he tries to, I guess he kind of gives a little bit of, I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. He kind of nods and kind of gives him a little like it's hearsay to him, but he's trying to make it sound like he's really taking it to heart to a certain extent, but he still kind of takes the Hal Jordan mantra, basically, that, kind of like go after it, attack first and deal with it later, the repercussions of it later. And they also talk about that besides dealing with the emotional spectrum, we still have to deal with all the criminals that escaped, or we let escape from the science cells when OA was about to be destroyed. So they kind of all set about, so those basically become their goals of what they're going to do. And it ties back into the last Hal and Kilowog basically refer back to Noel Ange, how they have a score to settle with her, who was the Sapphire who escaped from OA right when Relic was attacking. So we cut back to the planet Dakan in space sector 0563. Then we have the Bradesmen, the Braid clan, which are Noah Ange's followers, they're her supporters. And they're all sitting there talking, drinking, and then of course Hal and Kilowog show up. And of course, before you know it, it's a brawl, and despite the fact that Hal, of course, is trying to not use the emotional spectrum as much as possible, it doesn't really go particularly well. And he makes it clear that, we want Noel Ange, because their whole point is they want to take away her ring for unauthorized use. And Hal, basically, he kind of tricks them to a certain extent just to make them feel a little fear and danger, so Noel Ange will pick up on it. So she'll show up. We have a quite interesting view of Noel Ange from behind. Noel Ange from behind. It's a very nice view. It's very interesting.
Interesting, huh?
Yeah, kind of almost looks like she's got devil horns, though, when you look at it, the way her mask is kind of from.
Yeah, that's what you were paying attention to.
No, I'm looking at that part now, but that's not what caught my eye. So, okay, getting back on focus. Hal and Kilowog go to confront Noel Ange, and they try to she tries to use the same Sapphire trick that she used on Hal, tapping into the love that he felt and turning it into a weapon. But of course, Kilowog, in a way, kind of it angers him more than anything. He kind of laughs it off, pointing out that, I'm a Bolavaxian. My world was destroyed twice. The second time, my girl and my little ones were destroyed with it. So if you really think this is going to stop me or make me feel bad, you're kind of barking up the wrong tree. But it really does piss Kilowog off. So he really belts her really good, and everybody reacts to that as like, "Oh, the Prixium," is referring to Noel Ange. And Hal and Kilowog kind of have her chained up with a construct, and of course more of her troops, her Bradesmen, show up. And once again, it gets into a fight. Hal points out, I didn't want to use all these constructs, but I have no choice. He kind of takes out a bunch of them with a Coast City Lanes bowling ball, which was a nice touch. Hal tries to confront Noel Ange and kind of points out the fact that about every time she uses the ring, you kind of like you're adding another indictment, another charge we're going to bring against you. Kilowog creates quite an interesting little crab indigenous to his world to take out some of the Bradesmen. Hal confronts Noel Ange and tells her that and just kind of like goads her by telling her that her new science cell is not going to be on Mogo, isn't going to be quite as nice as the one on Oa. So Kilowog uses the crab thing on her. They kind of have her captured. Hal makes a comment that, friends want to share a cockpit with you. You might as well let them, right? Referring to Kilowog helping him. And Noel Ange goes, I agree. She sends out tethers, which basically connects to all the Bradesmen, all her people who get brought back to the Tethers to come to the con. And now she kind of turns around and goes, now Green Lanterns, see how it feels to be under another's heel. And the issue ends with Hal and Kilowog being surrounded by Braidmen with guns all aimed at them. And that ends issue 25.
I like art in this for the most part, but I have a question. Particularly if you turn to the page where they're entering the bar for the first time.
Yes.
When did the green part of Hal's suit become like a belly shirt?
I think there was it may not have been as pronounced as this, but I'm pretty sure if you go back to the first cover of 21 when Venditti took over, it was at the very least it was arced like that then. And I thought there was something like that even when they did the redesign of the New 52. It may not have been as angular as it is in this issue, but I think it may have been. I think it went a little lower in the original design, but I think that was part of the new design, I thought, for the New 52 to make it a little more angular over there. But it does look. I agree with you. It does kind of look like almost like a belly shirt.
Yeah, it looks kind of weird. And do you think is Mogo using the bits of Oa to make a ring around himself?
In what page?
Okay, so the first page where it says space.
Oh, that. Oh, I don't know if he's making it or if that's just maybe in a way. Well, if Mogo's reformed in there, so maybe it's almost like a gravitational pull thing, pulling in like the pieces of.
But he controls the gravity of his planet.
Unless he's trying to put the pieces of Oa back together again.
I don't know, because if you go to the page where they're having the campfire.
Yeah, you see it in the sky.
Yeah, and you can even see bits of it coming around all the way to the point where it's almost touching back on the planet. I think the ring is forming, not retreating.
It could be.
Yeah. So what do you think will happen to deal with Noah Lange again?
Well, we knew it was going to happen because they kind of alluded to it right before they switched gears to Lights Out. Plus, I kind of knew it anyway Venditti, I think, kind of mentioned that she was going to be back. I guess it makes sense because that was the most recent piece of unfinished business.
Mm-hmm.
And at least it's not dealing with the Durlans in this issue. But yeah, it doesn't seem like in a way, whether she's the world's biggest threat or not, which is kind of back to what John was trying to say, or the point he was trying to make, or they both were trying to make, that there's other issues to be focused in on too. I don't know. Maybe it's just personal with it's Hal, so some of it might be personal too because of what she did to him with the Tether and Carol and everything. So maybe there's a little more personal reason that he wants to go bring her in first and take away her ring. So
I just noticed this. I'm more impressed now with her feat of pulling people towards her with the tethers, because I just noticed that one of them's on a different planet and another of them are in different areas. So she's not pulling from just that planet or the immediate area.
No, she's not. I almost mentioned that, but I didn't want to keep it. I didn't want to go too long, and I started rambling a tad there. I don't like when I do that. But yes, it's the fact that she just reaches out wherever Bradesmen happen to be. And that's what she was connecting to, and basically calling them home to her because with her power. So that was pretty cool. She certainly is pretty good at using the Sapphire power, even though she doesn't have any training, which of course is interesting. But she's a natural. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. What do you think of the Kilowog stuff?
With her, with Nolange in particular.
Yeah, like the Bullovaxian callback as well, even with the crab too.
I liked it. I thought that was. It's always nice to see Kilowog in action.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that, he kind of shows how everything he's been through and how it doesn't, he didn't even mention the fact that he died and came back and all this stuff too. It's like everything I've been through. You think playing on my heartstrings is really going to slow me down? So that was kind of a nice touch, but he still was kind of impressed with her ability to use that, I think. So that was kind of cool too. It does seem kind of odd though, in a way, that just a bunch of people with guns seems to be such a huge threat to them. But
yeah, that's true.
But it does carry over to the next issue as well. So
And the bits with Hal and Carol and the Hal making the decision about policing the emotional spectrum.
That's really, I mean, some of the stuff with Carol was funny. The patrolling, the decision that we're going to control the emotional spectrum, or we're going to use it to make sure nobody else does. It is kind of dumb, and I mean, his point. I think in a way he was making more of a case when he was pointing out that it took like billions of years to drain the spectrum the first time, so we don't really have to go tippy toes around it now. And then it gets pointed out, well, look at all the other. There's so many. There was only one core for so long, and now there's a bunch of cores, so the drain on the reservoir is going to be quicker. And plus, as I don't know if it's pointed out in this issue or later, or I think it's later on that. Actually, it might have been earlier. I think it was earlier. I think it was at the end of Lights Out that there's no White Lantern now, and who knows if there was ever going to be, since they all assume Kyle is dead. So who knows if we'll ever be able to replenish the spectrum again if we get to the same point. So it seems to be one of many bad decisions Hal is making in his early tenure as leader of the Corps, but that I think is part of the plan. So.
See, and isn't this partly what we were worried about when we first heard about the reservoir, like, that there's a finite amount of energy, that eventually we'd get to this point where they'd start policing that, and that would become the focus, and Lantern against Lantern, that whole thing?
Yes. I mean, or certainly, yes, it certainly could set the stage for exactly what happened in Relic's universe, where once people realized that it was finite, then everybody was fighting over it because there was only a limited supply of all energy, not just for one color. So it was like basically, if you're the last core standing, you have you can at least you have the energy to use as you want it as long as it lasts, as opposed to having to divvy it up to like 7 other cores or 6 other cores, however many are left at the time. So yeah, I don't know. Well, I'm kind of hoping that this whole finite reservoir thing is the shelf life for this story. This concept is also finite, and somewhere maybe within a year that it'll be explained away why the spectrum was being drained and put things back the way that it should be, where it isn't finite. But yeah, it's a shaky thing. But as we'll see going forward with this, it's that many other ring wielders and many other planets and people have reactions now to as they find out about the spectrum, that their views on the Green Lanterns and all lanterns in general have changed and begin to change, since it's no longer they're helping us. Well, they might be helping us, but in theory they're destroying the universe in the process. So what's the greater good, the lesser of two evils? It does raise some interesting philosophical points, but we'll see how long this concept goes and how they run with it.
Well, the only other thing I was thinking about as far as this issue goes is this whole scene with the campfire and everything with Kilowog and John and Hal. They make some good points, but the one point they neglect to make in here is why Hal and Kilowog go after No Launch. Because even Kilowog says, should I dispatch Lanterns, Gore and Sun, and Ath to support? 0563 is their beat. And Hal says, no, you're just a Lantern to help me. Like, he's Corps leader. He's not honor guard. He's not a regular Lantern. He's Corps leader. Why is the Corps leader going into battle and not dispatching the Lanterns who are in charge of that sector to take care of the problem in that sector?
This is true, but it's also it's an extension of what Hal did the first time, because don't forget, he and Kilowog kind of had a similar discussion once they found out that Noel Ange had escaped and had killed in the science cells. That Kilowog was trying to talk Hal out of going, just flying by the seat of his pants to go after her too, and he just said, basically, it's Hal, so he said, I'm going to go do it anyway. So it didn't make any sense. Didn't make any sense the first time. It doesn't make much more sense this time, except at least this time he did bring backup.
Yeah, it's
slightly a big backup, but just one backup.
It's just, to me, Hal should know better. That's all.
I agree. I think there are a lot of things there's a lot of things we see in the first even counting Lights Out, the first 5 or 6 issues at least of Green Lantern, and it just in his own in the main title, that you would think Hal would be smarter than this. He would know better. His decision making would be better. So I think that's what as we've discussed before, I think that's what a lot of people have problems with. Even though it seems to be accomplished, they do seem to be turning the corner a little, and it does seem that it was a goal, and that goal wasn't just to make him out to be a schmuck. But still, that was, I think, a lot of people had problems with the idea that Hal he's, despite it being Hal, and he's not used to leading this many people and having to think as a corps, like literally like an Army Corps commander as opposed to just a company commander, that he has to think bigger picture now, and that despite that he would still seemingly be better at the job, you would think, but
yeah. Is there anything else about this particular issue that you wanted to point out? I mean, there doesn't seem to be a whole lot going on.
No, there isn't. I don't think there's not a lot of meat on the bones in this issue. I mean, there were some interesting points related to again, should the Spectrum be patrolled, and do they have the right to do it? I like that concept, and the fact that it's being debated, and the fact that not just basically everybody, a lot of people, not everyone, but a lot of people have, even if they're not going to say it to Hal, are questioning or really have doubts whether this is the right plan of action. But I think for this one issue anyway, I think we covered all the main points.
All right. Well, Green Lantern number 26. We pick up where we left off. Hal and Kilowog are surrounded. Nolange tells them they can leave or they can die. And Hal says, and she says, what you won't do is impede our livelihood. And he's like, smuggling, extortion, and contract murder. And he says, I'm bringing you in for unauthorized use of the emotional spectrum, and so on and so forth. In addition to all that, and then the Braidmen open fire, and Hal says, I'm getting the impression our uniforms don't command the respect they used to. And then he says, let's earn it back. And he says, and to earn it back, he forms a Gatling gun. It starts firing on people. Then Nolange, takes out their construct shell, their little fortress. So Hal gets away and then gets Kilowog out of the line of fire by putting him in a serving plate. Hal goes to deal a blow to her while Kilowog pulls her down with a weighted construct. Then a gun shoots Hal right before he makes the hit, a cannon more like it. And Kilowog says, well, the gun hands or the sapphire, we can't handle both. So Hal says, fine. And he opens a channel to every lantern and says, Corps Leader requesting backup. All available lanterns respond. Graf and Vath. Sounds like a buddy cop comedy.
Yep.
Graf and Vath have an argument about, we're not using the thing, we'll answer the call, but we won't use our rings. And Vath's like, you'll use it, you'll help, blah, blah, blah. So Vath is just like, whatever, grabs him in a bubble and pulls him along with him. Back to Nolange's planet, when Hal has got one of the Braidmen and is protecting him from the line of fire by putting him behind a construct bar. Stupid. So a little kid throws a coffee cup, a can of some sort, and the regular people start rioting and throwing stuff at the lanterns, as well as the other people. Then 2 other lanterns show up, one that looks like it's made of the sun / lava, and another that looks like a female version of Groot shows up. They start fighting. And these are the lanterns that are in charge of this particular sector, by the way. Nolange basically says, I've got my whole world devoted to me. They'll fight you, and Hal's like, you want to go planet to planet? We can do that. And Mogo shows up right then. And I'm pretty sure Mogo is creating a ring out of the Oa bits because it looks like the ring came with him.
Yep.
So all the Lanterns respond, and there's John and Vath and Graf and a bunch of other people. There's Estelle. Cool. And I forget the girl's name. Whatever. Aricia. There we go. They're all coming down and, flying down and whatever. Everybody starts fighting, and Hal's like, hey, Mogo, you want to do something about this? So he adjusts the gravity and basically causes the entire planet to shake. People get terrified, so Mogo stops it, and basically they're all ready to fight again, and Nolange is like, fine, I'll give up the ring. So she gives up the ring, and he's like, spread the word. The Green Lantern headquarters is mobile. We'll be anywhere, anytime. And she says, I'll spread the word. Whenever any Lantern uses any ring, you destroy the universe. And she walks off before she can explain. The Braid Men have negotiated for her release by turning themselves in. So they do that. And Hal just makes a comment about how it took every Lantern to confiscate the ring of one Renegade Star Sapphire. And then you can see that the chick that was hitting on Kilowog in the first issue, the bar chick, and the kid that threw the can are actually both Durlans, and they're underground spies, basically. And that ends the issue. There's some Channel 52 stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's super relevant. No, I don't think it's super relevant in this one.
Mm-mm.
Most of them usually aren't, but at least the one in the next issue, at least for a head of curiosity, is at least somewhat interesting.
I wish they'd just go back to letters pages. I'm sick of like concept art. I'm sick of this this Channel 52 stuff. I'm sick of all this stuff they're trying. The only thing that ever worked and to me justified taking up that space was letter pages.
It certainly would be a better use. It would be a better use of the pages, that's for sure.
Yeah. So what'd you think?
It's like we've kind of touched on a few minutes ago. It's kind of odd again that Hal and Kilowog, the two of them, can't really do better against One Star Sapphire and a bunch of guys with guns.
Mm-hmm.
You would think, and some of Hal's, I don't know. Again, it goes back to his decision making and how he handles things. The way he confronts the kid after he gets hit in the head with a can, he kind of goes, "Oh yeah, your dad is a crook. So's the crew he runs with. You'd be better off without him." Supposedly he's talking to the guy's kid, his son. Is he really gonna think that's gonna work? Is his son really gonna go, "Oh, you're right. Father's a jerk. I don't need him anymore." It's like it's so dumb. I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense. The fact that the whole point of them coming here, yes, it was to get Noah Ange's ring, but she was in many ways she was the bigger threat because she's the ringleader. So no pun intended. So because these guys are willing to surrender, they let her go. That's kind of stupid. And then you have. So I do like Kilowog's comment, like, this one got away from us a little. that I liked. I kind of like the way they make Noah Ange kind of, she's pretty bright and she's always like one step ahead. And we kind of understand why she kind of has the knowledge about the emotional spectrum. Once you the next issue helps define that a little bit more once you see the role that the Durlans play in this. But I don't know. Again, like the last issue, I don't think there was a whole lot of meat in this issue either. I think it was cool seeing all the Lanterns in action, fighting together. Yeah. But again, you would think this would kind of be mop up duty for them.
Yeah. See, and what drives me crazy is he says in this same issue, "I swear I'm trying to burn less light, but old habits, dot dot dot." He uses a serving tray to get Kilowog out of the way, not a standard bubble. He calls the entire Lantern Corps to his aid. I mean, I don't. He instead of using just a standard shield, he creates a bar behind this dude, like it's an old Western shootout. I don't.
Even though there's not a lot, I mean, we don't necessarily know if it really makes that much of a difference about what shape the construct takes.
I would imagine, Joe. I would imagine it would take more concentration and willpower to form the corners and
That's probably true.
intricacies of a bar than just a solid.
Than just a rectangle
Yeah.
of the same size without any other definition other than like a block. Yeah, yeah, that's probably true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
And he uses the brass knuckles and things like that. But that's. So in a way, this just goes back to making kind of what that was pointed out before, where John, I think, was the one who pointed out in the last issue that it's kind of hypocritical, that we're trying to prevent others from using the emotional spectrum, but we're going to keep using it, and we're going to keep using it also to prevent other people from using it. And at the same time, you're using a hell of a lot more energy than, or just at least as much energy if you and the other core that you were trying to capture were doing their own thing. You're not using any less energy by going after them into an all-out battle and having construct after construct be thrown at each other. So I don't know. So what did you think? Did you this I mean, in a way, even though this issue 27 kind of ties into this, but in a way this was almost like a two-issue. I mean, the first two issues were kind of 25 and 26 were really tied together. So did you like that little mini storyline, or could you care less about it?
I could care less. It's just it might be the New 52 doing it, and I'm not about to go on another rant, but I think it might be. Long story short, I think it might be. I personally think Hal should know better than to be doing the things he's doing in these issues. Calling all the Lanterns to do this backup. Him and Kilowog going to this planet in the first place without sending the Lanterns responsible for the sector there first. So on and so forth. So, I don't know. And whenever, what's their name? Speaking of my new favorite Lantern, Goran's son.
Yeah, he's cool. He's very cool.
Cool looking. But, well, it's Kilowog that says this. He says, not that I don't appreciate the extra hands, Goran's son, but just you two, we're tussling with the planet here. I thought that was Hal, but even so, like you two were doing any better, you're really going to put down two other Lanterns for showing up to help you out? You two weren't doing diddly squat. One of you's Corps leader, the other was the trainer of the entire Corps. And you...
I know, but with more experience between the two of them than probably almost at least like 70% of the other Corps members combined, and yet
you're criticizing these two Lanterns for going, just you two? Like, you two were doing any better.
This girl is tough.
and not to... What natural abilities do Hal and Kilowog have? This dude is burning hot lava stuff, and this chick is firing these wooden stick things. So it's not just like Lantern energy. They themselves are their own weapons. So, I mean, calm down. And part of the reason they should have sent the Lanterns from the sector that's in charge of, or the Lanterns in charge of the sector, is not just because it's their sector, but, and this is going to sound so stupid, but because it's their sector. They know what is they know about the Bradesmen. They know how these planets operate. They know about the politics, the blah, blah, blah. That's part of the reason why you send Lanterns from a specific sector to deal with problems in that sector. Not just because they're the Lantern of that sector, but because they're familiar with their sector.
And plus, it would seem like less of an intrusion or an invasion.
Yeah, like a Bolavaxian and a human showing up.
Yeah, I mean, they'd be more likely to be treated with more respect because they are from that sector. Unless, of course, you happen to be going to a planet that that Green Lantern from, they're complete, they're arch enemies and they have a long history together. Then yes, then you would have a problem. But assuming that there isn't that built-in animosity or built-in, then that's redundant. But that animosity that's built in, you wouldn't think that would happen. Yes, it would make sense. I think that's a good observation. But it's Hal being Hal, and we know how that's worked out so far in the post Johns era of leading the Corps.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't really matter. Lanterns have this one stipulation about them now throughout the entire universe. So it doesn't matter which Lantern shows up; it's still a Green Lantern. So I guess there's a negative view there, no matter what.
Oh yes, that's true.
So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if we're running through these or if there really just isn't that much meat to them.
I honestly think there might be little bits and pieces we could talk about more, maybe, but I really think that, I think we're being fair to them. I think it's just, I don't think we're trying to rush through it or we're trying to speed along through it. It's just that there really isn't that much there, which is, and to be fair, it's kind of how we felt, I believe, when we went through the first few issues of Green Lantern.
Yeah.
And not counting Lights Out, but when we did 21 through 23, that I think it was similar, at least with this title. I think we thought New Guardians had more meat to it, which it did, but for the most part, there isn't a lot there. So
yeah,
it was a little more contained. I mean, it's not even though obviously now from the issue we're about to go into next, going forward, it's kind of tied directly to the whole Derlin Kuhn thing. More, but up to this point, at least they still had some self-contained story arcs, kind of like smaller arcs inside the bigger arc, and kind of left the Corps to be dealing with, all the Derlin stuff, issue in and issue out, for better or for worse. But now once we get into this issue, kind of like Corps and Green Lantern are both kind of dealing with it head on, which makes sense because really they are, despite all the titles, they are really the only Green Lantern books. I mean, New Guardians really is not a Green Lantern book at the moment; it's a White Lantern book. There's a Kyle book, and with the New Guardians with him, the Templar Guardians, but it's not really a book about a Green Lantern at the moment. So it would make sense that the only two books really focusing on Green Lanterns, month in and month out, are the ones that are kind of covering this entire storyline.
Yeah. Well, 3 small points. One, is Mogo about to take out their moon? Or is that just a planet far away?
I closed the issue. I don't think he was going to take out the moon, though. I don't think he would have done that.
No, I mean, that little purple ball between the asteroid field around Mogo and Mogo himself. It's Mogo, this little purple ball, the remains of Oa, and then the Green Lantern, and then the planet that Nolange is on. Did Mogo just place the rings of his new ring and himself between a planet and its moon?
No, I don't think they're supposed to be that close necessarily.
Okay.
I think it's a distance thing because there's other. If you actually look, there's other planets there, or moons, whatever they are. But you see, there's a bunch of different colors there too.
Oh,
there's
come on, Mark. That's no moon.
It's a space station. They're probably planets. I mean, they're probably supposed to be planets, I assume. But
causing a planet-wide earthquake, overkill.
Yeah, I think so. Not exactly a good move to try to get respect as opposed to fear out of people.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we're the good guys, and if you don't believe us, we're going to destroy your effing world.
Yeah, and I like how they don't want to. Those 3 lanterns don't want to use ring energy. But on the page where Hal says, "I can assure you your worlds will have our full and undivided attention," Tomar 2 is clearly holding a construct what looks like a crowbar for absolutely no reason other than to have an intimidating stance.
Actually, I think he actually is holding a crowbar.
No, it's green. It's
See,
construct green.
on mine it's not.
Oh, it's not.
No, and he's standing in front of Hanu, correct, in that
Yes.
panel? Yeah, and the hard copy that I'm looking at, it's not glowing at all. It looks like it's actually a piece of metal.
Okay, so mine is green. It's absolutely a construct in mine.
Interesting.
Funny how that works. Um, and my third and final point, just like I said when she first showed up, Nolange looks hotter without the ring than she does with it.
Even though you don't get the best look at her in this issue without the.
I don't know. I just like the way her hair is like all flowy and
Oh, her hair, yeah. Her hair is better. There's no doubt her hair is better when she's not wearing the little tiara thing, but
yeah.
but the view from behind in the last issue was pretty good. Sapphire
You can
Thongs coming to a store near you.
you can see a view from behind when she's walking back into the crowd in the next page.
Yeah, but it's more of a disc.
Oh, you want the close up, huh?
Well, I don't think that necessarily was an accident shot. It's like, ooh, I mean, it was kind of artistic from the point of view from the storytelling point of view, just like as she's hovering above them, looking down at them. But it's also like, I don't think anyone's gonna really mind if we show a nice tight butt here either, and that's what they do.
Moving on. All right, issue 27.
Issue 27. The New Face of Evil is the cover, and it shows a Durlin basically copying Hal Jordan. New Face of Evil, Hal Jordan, written by Robert Venditti and drawn by Dale Eaglesham, who of course we will know more of or see much more of now that he's going to be doing the Sinestro book. So this picks up back on Mogo. Harsh Realities is what the title of the story inside is called. That's the actual title of the issue. John Salek and they continue to work on rebuilding the Citadel and everything else on Oa to build real structures, since Mogo's done good things with caves and everything else, but they actually need buildings now. So John's using his architect know-how to help reinforce everything and use the cement to reinforce the cement as it cures everything else. We switch inside the Citadel when Hal's talking to Soranik, and they're talking about the new infirmary and how it's coming along. And as those two talk, we switch over to your friend and mine, St. Walker, who wakes up from his coma that he's been in since Lights Out, and he screams, "Relic!" And, St. Walker is just kind of, his first concern is looking for Worth. Where's Brother Worth? Hal first, while this is going on, Hal kind of gives credit to Soranik for saving him, and she points out, well, I didn't really do this. I think it really had to do with the healing properties of the blue ring. And Hal, unfortunately, has the task of telling St. Walker that the rest of the Blue Lanterns are all dead, that he's the last one. And he talks about how the blue light of hope was extinguished and, what caused this. And Hal fills in the blank from everything that's happened after St. Walker got blasted back on Elpis, I believe, that how Relic came to drain all her rings, that the emotional spectrum is limited, and so St. Walker is crying, which is kind of a sad thing to see. He tells him that Kyle's gone too, which is it really impacts St. Walker as a double whammy behind knowing that his core is gone. And Hal tries to give him a pep talk. It's like, I've set up this great new mission that we're going to patrol the emotional spectrum to try to conserve the energy, and so I need you to get back in action. And St. Walker's still crying, and he goes, "I just can't do that." I just can't do it. If every lantern ring is draining the emotional spectrum and basically killing the universe every time we use the rings, since the blue light is the most powerful light of all, we do the most damage to it, or right now I would do the most damage to it, and I can't do that. And when he says that, the ring starts leaving his finger saying "hope no longer detected," And and what's even more gut wrenching is St. Walker just sits, it's kind of like slumps over onto his cot in the infirmary, going, "All is not well." And Hal tries to get St. Walker to talk some more, and Sorenik goes, "You just got to give him time, Hal. He's trying to make sense out of everything." And St. Walker just keeps mumbling, "Not well," which is interesting that to note, and it will continue in the next few issues, is that while hope is no longer detected on St. Walker, the ring still hovers over him and does not leave to go search for another bearer. So that is something to keep in mind. Sorenik actually throws in Hal, throws in one thing right at the end before we leave the infirmary. "Take care of him, Sorenik. If there's one thing we can't afford to lose, it's hope," which is pretty telling and important too in the big picture. We switch to the command center. Hal and Kilowog are there, and they're, interesting enough, they're talking about Sinestro. They're trying to figure out where he is, where the Sinestro Corps is. Hal's going, we really should hit them while they're in disarray before they get together, before they make a plan, before they come back. And that's when Kilowog once again, or specifically, points out, "What about all the convicts that we turned loose, when all was about to destroy it? Those crooks are our responsibility." And Hal kind of points out, "There's a lot on his plate. We're going to do that. We have to prioritize." And he says, "It's tough to focus on a guy who calls himself Bolfunga the Unrelenting when a few thousand fear-wielding maniacs are out there somewhere." At that moment, Vaz contacts Hal to let him know that the ship is arriving with the Braid clan members who surrendered in the last issue. As the prisoners are about to be turned over, they rebel, and they do it for your Prixium, for Noel Ange. So the Green Lanterns try to corral the prisoners, including the cute little fish guy Muck Muck. So some of the Bradesmen get captured, but some of them escape, and they're hiding in the woods on Mogo. And that's when they find that their contact showed up, who seemingly is just a cook on Mogo. He helps take off their shackles, and he gives them all weapons that have been proven to be lantern killers. And meanwhile, Muck Muck over there, following Vaz's lead, he's trying to count the prisoners, but the prisoners not accidentally or pacing in circles to try to keep it and make it extremely difficult for the lanterns to actually figure out how many of them are there. The Bradesman and the cook are going to sneak into a back way of the Citadel, and they're expecting it to, no one ever really uses this way, and they walk in and they find that's where the infirmary is. And Sorenik kind of stares right at them. They stare at her. Then they start opening fire. They blast another lantern. Sorenik just basically loses it and just says, "Stop firing. This is an infirmary. There's wounded here. Basically do what you need, leave, but don't hurt anyone in the infirmary." She tells our friend Goran's son over there not to do anything, rings down. So there's kind of a standoff for a few minutes whether they're going to just walk out or they're going to do more shooting, but the Bradesman at least let Sorenik has her way and they leave. Sorenik contacts Hal. She tells him to sound the general alarm. The Braidmen are loose, and right at that moment, Hal gets cracked in the back of the head. He gets kicked in the face, and he's unconscious. And as he's on the ground, the cook reveals himself to be a Durlan, who copies Hal Jordan and takes his place, which is a really cool panel, which I'll talk about when we get to the end, the way Hal looks in that panel. And there's a cute little conversation there, or comment anyway, between the Braidman and the Durlan pretending to be Hal when the Braidman goes, right down to a fake ring and a fake finger. Do you even remember what your real face looks like, Durlan? And he goes, "Most days, I don't remember what my true gender is." And I thought that was kind of funny. And basically what happens, the Durlan impersonates Hal. He makes an announcement to the entire universe. He makes it clear that the Green Lantern Corps is basically under new leadership, that they're dealing with, that they're not going to basically take any crap. And he also announces to the world that it was basically proven that there's a reservoir to the emotional spectrum, that our power is finite, and just because it's finite doesn't mean we're not going to keep using our weapons. We've deemed the draining of the emotional spectrum to be a necessary cost, whether it harms all of you or not. And we will basically, we're going to do what we want to do, and because we think it's right. So they show different reactions all across the universe. You have Baz on Earth, Guy in his space cruiser. You got other Lanterns reacting on Mogo. You have Zamaron reacting. You got back to the planet Neluel, the planet Numerocron. Everybody's just going basically down with the Green Lanterns, down with the Green Lanterns. And the fake Hal goes, this is what awaits any world that stands in our way. And they show the images of Mogo shaking the planet of Dakan in the last issue. The new era of the Corps starts now. You have been warned. Then the fake Durland stops the transmission, turns back into his chef persona. Hal tries to stop the Bradesman from escaping with... Is that energy or is it like money, Chad? Do you happen to see that or no? But you probably don't have it in front of you, so you can let me know.
You're talking about those brick things?
Yeah, is that energy?
That's got to be energy because he pushes a button and it explodes.
Well, I didn't get to that part yet, but you were correct.
Yeah.
You are correct. So it's like a bomb, basically, almost,
yeah.
Or it could be used. But so Hal traps the Bradesman in that. Hal finds out at the same time, because of his quote-unquote transmission, all the sector houses of the Green Lanterns across the universe are being attacked and they need backup. The Bradesman points out the revolution begins and he explodes the bomb in the Citadel. Kilowog finds a stunned Hal. He goes, what the hell? He didn't, not quite in those words. What was the explosion? What were you thinking sending that broadcast? Hal points out that it wasn't me, that it was, that it was a setup. The Bradesman surrendering, that whole thing was a setup. And he just points out that basically war has just been declared on the Corps, and we cut to a scene of all of the sector houses being attacked, of the Coons attacking, and everybody's looking, and all hell's breaking loose. All the Green Lanterns out there are under attack and need help. And that pretty much ends this issue. And the interesting point we kind of hinted at in Channel 52 is that there's a nice little splash page there of Batman fighting Superman, and they mention the fact of they're squaring off, and it's possible that it's unconfirmed reports that an alien tyrant named Mongol may be involved. So they go out of their way to give Green Lantern the Mongol one shot to set him up as a Green Lantern villain, and apparently he's going to show up being a Superman villain and a Batman villain before he shows up in Green Lantern again. And that's kind of the end of 27.
All right, first things first. This broadcast, where he starts off saying, for those of you who don't recognize me, I'm Hal Jordan, leader of the Green Lantern Corps. Does this mean everybody on Earth knows who Hal Jordan is now?
That's a good point. Well, it doesn't mean that. I mean, you have to look at the way they're all getting their information on these screens through the Ring. It's possible that the technology on Earth maybe wouldn't pick up on that kind of.
I don't know. This light cruiser, it's not showing up on Guy's Ring or anything. It's showing up on the.
Oh no,
screen.
I know it's showing up in a monitor, kind of like in a way it's showing up like on a monitor or a crystal on Zamaron. But I'm saying the technology is much more advanced. So maybe it's a good point, though. I don't know. That's a good pickup. I don't know if that's the case. So
Yeah, I mean, because it's even showing up on the screen in these various bars across the universe.
Well, yes, I know.
So
I do. It's just that again, our technology compared to theirs is so Mickey Mouse that maybe it's not like
Mickey Mouse.
maybe maybe we're not intergalactic Wi-Fi compatible the way they are. I don't know. I
Hey,
guess
what's up?
it could
I'm Hal
it could
Jordan.
yeah. He'll show up at Disney World. Hi kids,
I'm
you're all screwed.
Hal Jordan. Fuck you. Uh, um.
Remember me when I went nuts?
Yeah, and that's one thing. And I don't know if you were going to bring this up, but it happens before he gets changed by a Durlin. Do you notice how his eye mask has the points to it?
Yeah, it does kind of. Yeah,
It's
it
got
does.
like the parallax horns on the top of it.
Well, what I was going to point out was, and it's somewhat related to that, is that Page, after the Durlin first copies Hal, that the Durlin Hal just has a completely, other than the costume, of course, but facially, he just looks like Parallax so much. Which is good. I mean, it's a good. I mean, Eaglesham, when he does Hal, seemingly he's hit or miss. That a lot of times he's really good, and sometimes it seems like in a way he's got more problems with Hal than he does with some of the other characters as far as consistency. But that was one panel I thought that was really cool of Hal, because it just looks like he definitely reminds me of classic Parallax.
Yeah. Well, there's also the fact that as far as art styles go, this has no inker. It's just penciler and colorist. So that's why it looks the way it does.
That's true. There is no inker in this issue.
So, Blue Lantern fan, what did you think of the St. Walker part?
First of all, I thought he drew a great Saint Walker.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he did a pretty good job at Storanek. She doesn't look completely like she normally does, but I think obviously we better get used to it, because since he's going to be drawing Sinestro Corps, the Sinestro book, I should say, and that Soranek is supposed to be a major player in that book at some point, that I guess we're going to see a lot more of Eaglesham Soranek. I like the Soranek. I think when he drew a great Saint Walker. It was depressing, but of course I think we kind of alluded to this maybe during Lights Out, that we kind of knew it made sense that as hopeful as St. Walker is, the odds of him just waking up and going, okay, time to get back to work, that it probably wasn't going to happen like that, that he probably was going to need there was going to be some kind of hero quest he had to go on to to completely rediscover his faith, and to believe that what he was, especially now with maybe if it wasn't for the fact that the spectrum, the finite spectrum aspect was now first and foremost, maybe if that was not on the board, then maybe he would have picked up a lot quicker, even though he lost all his Blue Lanterns, but he still would have believed in his mission and that what he was doing was right. I think that's his biggest issue right now, is that he has to question whether what he's doing is really right or not, because of its effect on the universe. So I think his reaction was, I think, fairly normal, or fairly what you would expect it to be. You would think, personally, you would think he'd be more upset about Worth and all the Blue Lanterns being wiped out than just Kyle being wiped out. Since even though he and Kyle have a personal relationship, they're not as close. I mean, they're somewhat close, but they're not super, super, super close. You can make a case, philosophically, they have similar paths, and not just because of their relationship with Ganthet, but especially now because St. Walker basically is kind of what Kyle was. St. Walker he will be, I'm sure, once the ring comes back online for him, he's going to be the torchbearer for the Blue Lantern Corps until the Corps comes back. So he and Kyle actually will have even more in common than they had before, just being kind of chosen by Ganthet. But it was depressing, but the fact that the ring did not leave him, because it just says hope no longer detected, which I guess is somewhat different than probably saying that you're without hope. That it's kind of implying that it's there. It's just it's just not registering enough at the moment, or that the ring knows well enough to know that there's hope in there, but so it's not leaving him yet. It's just not enough of a spark to stay on, or else you would think we'd go find another user. So.
Let me ask some along the same lines. Do you think Hal and St. Walker are friends? Would you consider them friends?
I would like to think so. I mean, I almost mentioned this when I was just talking about Kyle. Hal and St. Walker actually should have a much closer relationship than Kyle, because they've spent much more time together.
Yeah, but Kyle's wielded a blue ring and all of this stuff. I guess he might feel more of a kinship with him.
That's true, and because of the hero quest that Kyle was on to learn the Spectrum, and again, it could just be that tie-in with Ganthet too. That he knew that St. Walker would know how important Kyle was to Ganthet, and vice versa. But I would think that they were friends. I mean, I don't think.
But you don't get that feeling here though. Like Hal's just like, everybody's dead. Relic was right. Kyle's gone too. Hey, I got a new mission. I need you back in action. Right. Like, there's no comforting. There's no I understand, buddy. There's no, Kyle was important to me too. There's none of that. It's just, people are dead, but I need you back in the game, dude.
Yeah, it's business as usual for Hal, and that's part of the problem of where he is. I was going to say that I think the friendship would be I would have assumed the friendship would have been felt more if St. Walker feeling it for Hal than the other way around. Because that would also be more indicative of their relationship to begin with. Because St. Walker was always kind of warm and open towards Hal, and Hal was kind of always a borderline dick in the beginning to St. Walker. Obviously, that has changed once he realized, Ganthet wasn't trying to replace the Corps and all this other, with the Blues and all this other stuff. But I would think St. Walker would feel some kind of bond with Hal, maybe more than. But yes, I agree. But then again, like we've talked about, this is chalk it up to another thing that Hal's doing that he probably should know better, or that his bedside manner good, uncheck. It's like, no, because that's just not, he's not being comforting. He's like, by the way, everybody's dead. You're the last one left. We're destroying the universe when we use our rings. That being said, suck it up and get back in the game. I want you blue and I want you now, damn it. Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't the finest moment for Hal Jordan, that's for sure.
You know what was funny to me? And I'm totally skipping ahead. When Vaz is telling Muck Muck to line Muck Muck.
I know, that's a great name.
when Vaz is telling them to line them up single file, and Muck Muck says, "Yes, Warden Vaz." You see that panel?
Yes.
What does that look like to you? Does that remind you of anything?
What in particular?
I'll give you a hint. Shoot her!
No, I'm not placing it.
Jurassic Park. When they're unloading the raptor, this looks like the gates to the raptor cage.
Yeah, I could see that. Now that I'm looking for it, I could see that.
The second I saw it, I was like, wait a sec. Is there Jurassic Park on the middle of Mogo? I mean, it's a big planet. I don't see why not.
Muck.
You know what I want to see, and this is going to be a total tangent, but you know how the way the lay of the land is, literally on Mogo, how there's the band of green and there's the Green Lantern symbol, and all the green you see on Mogo is supposed to be land and the rest is water. I wonder if there's like a tiny little speck of land out in the middle of that giant freaking ocean on one of the sides, and like Mogo takes a nap and someone gets stranded out there, and the one issue is a story about how they're supposed to get back. Like they can't tell Mogo, hey, we're stuck. Can you like build a land bridge or something?
He's sleeping.
Mogo's in hibernation. Their rings run out and they're like, oh man, because that ocean isn't like our ocean. It's like it's literally half the planet plus some is ocean. Like there's no land masses or anything in there to break it up. Anyways, More Derlin stuff.
Yes.
Mm. You know what? I like the way that Eaglestram did the Goran's son.
Yeah, he was pretty cool. He looks more in a way he looks more intimidating like this.
Yeah, he looks more lava-esque. Um, I, on the page where they break into the medical bay the first time, and Goran's son's looking over that tentacled dude.
Yep.
Do you see the lantern to the right? The box-like lantern that looks like it's taped up with
Yeah.
duct tape.
Yes. Unless that's their post office box.
This is a living being that's just happens to be shaped like a rectangle that is bandaged, quote unquote, with what looks like duct tape.
Wait.
It's awesome. Yeah, why not? It should work. Um, and Sora's protecting him too when she says stop.
That's true. She is in front of him.
Yeah, he's right behind her. He's still got his duct tape bandage, and he's right next to Goran's son. When Goran's son's saying, "Who cares what they want?" It's funny. As he puts his boiling hot hands on the lantern. It's awesome.
Don't shoot him. The mail doesn't get picked up to 10 a.m.
I'm surprised they let Sora and the medically injured lanterns live.
Yeah, that was an interesting. I guess that was an interesting decision. But then again, I mean, you could look at it and say maybe the bradesmen have some sense of honor, but you can also look at it. Well, they're there for a reason.
Yeah.
They're really there for one reason, and obviously certainly as far as the Durlans are concerned, to make sure that transmission goes through. So.
What do you think of the transmission?
Well, it's interesting because I think it's always interesting when you have a villain basically tell the absolute truth, and either somebody completely doesn't believe it, or people completely do believe it, and you just left it, and it's like you have to deal with the repercussions of it. It's like nothing that he said other than coming across as an arrogant jerk. Which, of course, some people would say, that isn't a character for Hal anyway. That other than coming across, as a jerk, that everything he said was the facts of what he said were completely accurate.
Mm-hmm.
That. So it's using something that was hidden, that was secret, supposed to be secret knowledge, and making it public, and now they have to deal with the repercussions of that.
Yeah, you think Hal would have learned his lesson from the Guardians about keeping secrets?
Yeah, that's true, but it is kind of. But that's kind of when you think about it though, that's kind of a touchy one, because how do you really let that one out and not expect people to either fear you a lot, not have the same kind of respect for you and fear you more, not because what you might do to them, or just the fact that if you do something to them, it's the double whammy of you're also shortening the life of the universe in the process.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could make a case it might be able to keep some sectors more in line because they'll do it just not because they're afraid of getting whacked with green energy, but just because the green energy, they don't want to kick that countdown clock 10 minutes closer to doomsday. But it's a fine line. It really is. That's what, again, like this whole emotional spectrum being a limited thing. These are all the different things they have to deal with now, and that's another aspect of it.
And of course, how the universe reacts. All of a sudden, all sector houses start coming under attack.
Like there wasn't enough bad will towards the Green Lanterns to begin with, thanks to the Guardians.
Was that a pun? Bad will?
Maybe it was.
I like how everybody just immediately assumes it's Jordan doing this. Like in their entire experience as a Green Lantern Corps or with Hal Jordan themselves, none of them thinks at all that it might be not him. Both Badge and Baz, Guy, Kilowog, the Zamarons. What is he doing? And then when Kilowog comes up to him, Hey, what was that all about? Like,
Yeah.
nobody gives him the benefit of the doubt whatsoever.
Yeah, you would think some people. Well, I guess in a way what they're playing on is the fact that his his leadership for the first 6 issues up to this point has been so shitty as a whole that they really can't put it past him actually just making another bad decision. I think that's in a way I think that's part of what you're supposed to take from it, that it's a really bad decision, but considering the decisions he's made, can we really say it's out of character?
True. And if that's the point, then I guess it kind of makes sense to have Hal make such crappy decisions. Like maybe the writers are intentionally having Hal make crappy decisions to serve this point, but I don't know if it comes at the expense of going against everything that the character is. You know what I mean? I mean,
completely agree.
it's not that Hal hasn't made crappy decisions before and won't make them again. It's just, when you put the history of Hal that we have and all the experiences he's been through, it just seems like he's making more crappier decisions than you think someone of his history and experience should be.
I agree.
Yeah. So, anything else?
No, I think we touched on it. It was kind of funny with that Channel 52 thing. Because I remembered as we discussed during the Villains Month issue. Do you think Mongo's a Green Lantern villain or a Superman, or do you see him as a Green Lantern or Superman villain now? And it's like, oh, he's a Green Lantern villain, and then of course let's have him show up seemingly in Batman and Superman first.
Jesus.
Like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Whatever. All right. So listener feedback.
Sure, sounds good.
Epic. So listener feedback. We're gonna start. Now we might have already covered some of this before, so sorry if we already have. But it won't be that much more. We're just going based off the last record date and stuff like that. So we're gonna start with February 8th and kind of rocket our way through some of this stuff. I'm not gonna read everything word by word. Just pick out some stuff. February 8th was, for those of you who don't remember, Green Lantern Day. That means the month, February, is the second month, the date, the 8th, and the year 2014. So that's 2814. So Green Lantern Day.
Yay!
Huzzah. Floto, always a big follower of us, was happy Green Lantern Day to the voice of the Corps, Blogavoa, and LanternCast. So that was cool. And thanks also go out to the Blogavoa runner, Myron, to Phil, to Mike, to Justin, and everybody. Tower of Fate and Hornet's Nest. And Jesse tweeted us and said that Van Jensen was at his local LCS on Green Lantern Day. So that was cool. Hopefully he got to get some good signatures from him. Shout-outs to Andy and John and Dwayne. Andy and John, always big followers on Twitter as well. Jamie as well. And then one of the cool things that happened on Green Lantern Day was that Kirby Crackle released Ring Capacity to be a free download for 24 hours.
That was pretty cool.
Did you already have Ring Capacity, or did you take advantage of it when you heard about it?
I did not have it beforehand, but I did take advantage of it.
Awesome. So yeah, awesome to Kirby Crackle for doing that. And then for those of you who haven't heard Kirby Crackle, they just sing all about geeky stuff. And then Corwin tweeted me and said, so when are we getting that Sinestro Core War episodes? Come on, Corwin. I would to join you guys. I know it's a 140 character limit, but come on.
There should be a like in there somewhere.
Yeah, that's right, man. Come on now. I'm just messing with you, Corwin. And I told him no idea, but trust me, we already have you in mind, which we do. Come on. Corwin's like, other than Jason, is the biggest Sinestro/Sinestro Core fan, so it's kind of hard not to have him involved in that. And we've told you guys before, it's a big thing on our list to get to at some point. Celtic 527 answered a tweet I sent out that said, "What did you honestly think of Jeff Johns' run on Green Lantern from start to finish, not just certain parts?" And he said his one word was amazing. And even though I said, Mike said, oftentimes amazing, but too bogged down with events. Still very much enjoyed it. So there's that. Dowd, I said, happy Valentine's Day, loyal listeners. And the JL8 webcomic creator, if you haven't read JL8, you really should. So it says, you light up my life, to all you fine, sexy people from the LanternCast crew. And that was me, not Mark. So if anybody feels weird about that, there you go. Anybody feel weird about that when you saw it?
No.
No, you felt it was earned. You are a fine, sexy person.
I trust your judgment, Chad.
So shout out to Dowd, and this is a Twitter handle, Black Girl Nerds, as well as Greg, Electric G, and Aridane, Seahorse, Calvary, Tony, Ricky. Ricky actually said, who else thinks that Kesnia Solo would make the perfect Aricia Rab, whatever her name is, last name. Have you heard of this person?
I may know of her visually, but the name isn't ringing a bell. What was she in?
I have no idea. It says, but on Twitter she's got 65.4K followers. So it says it's the official Twitter account of KSENIA and then last name Solo. I don't know what she was in. Let me see. Maybe I can figure it out real quick. This is riveting podcasting, I know.
Just found her Facebook page.
I saw her nationality, and it says Canadian and Latvian, but I thought it was like Latveria or something.
Yeah.
Second,
Dr. Doom's sister.
she is. Let's see. I see Black Swan and Lost Girl for some of her movie credits. Let's see here. Yeah, Lost Girl, the TV show, Black Swan, the movie. My freaking internet would start acting straight. There we go. Nikita for like one episode, Life Unexpected for a little while, Moonlight when that was on the air for a little bit. I'm not seeing anything else that's super standout here. But she's really pretty.
Great eyes.
Yeah, you think she would make a good Aricia?
I'm not sure, only because it's hard to picture her orange for some reason.
Yeah, that's true.
But
hard to picture anybody orange.
That's actually, other than the Lord Fleas, it's kind of, yeah, it is kind of a good point. Probably.
Yeah. Also thanks to Floto, to Mike, to Andy, to Dwayne, to Scott, to a bunch of people. Between the pages, so on and so forth, Valiant Podcast. I had a couple of days there where I was like, hey, everybody tell Jeff Johns you should come over on this on the LanternCast. And lots of people retweeted and tweeted Jeff Johns themselves with their own tweets. And like Scott said, the foremost Green Lantern podcast, LanternCast, would be honored to have a chat with you. I'm a huge fan of you and their podcast. Dwayne said you should check out LanternCast, a must listen to for any Green Lantern fan. So that's awesome. I really appreciate that, guys. I know we do. Scott has always been a big supporter of the Green Lantern Green Arrow podcast. Really like the second episode that I put up with Neil Adams and Denny O'Neil. I don't know if we had a chance to talk about that on the air. Did you get a chance to listen to that episode, Mark?
Yes, that episode I did.
Okay.
That was you did a really good job with that.
Thank you.
With those interviews.
Awesome. Appreciate that. Have you listened to the third one yet?
Third one, I honestly have not gotten an opportunity to listen to.
Dare you?
I know, but I want to make sure I can actually listen to it as opposed to being so preoccupied and having it on in the background.
Oh, I'm just messing with you, dude.
I know you are, but I'm being honest. It's like even when I used to listen to our podcast, when I just used to listen to it, I tried to make sure at least whenever I was not so in the middle of something else, that you could that you didn't really absorb it, and you wanted to make sure you were give it the concentration it deserves. So I am interested in the episode though, so I'm definitely going to do it.
Scott also asks, is Mark Marble on Twitter yet?
No, I am not.
I told him no, that the complexities of Twitter evade the old guy.
Eventually. But again, I'm not a. It's bad on some levels. It's bad enough on Facebook that you give people an update on every single thing you're doing. Twitter just seems like we make it so much worse.
Floto is also another huge supporter of the Green Lantern Green Arrow podcast. Quillian also did a lot of favorites and retweets for us. Actually, I'm going to have Floto on at some point on the Green Lantern Green Arrow show to cover a specific issue. Professor Riptide, the Mighty All Comic, Dan H. Awesome. They all tweets and retweets, so thanks again to those guys. Mostly it's I mean, not to discount anybody else, but mostly it's Scott, Andy, Floto, and Dwayne who are always on Twitter helping us out and pimping us out stuff for us. So thank you very much, guys. We appreciate that. And of course,
definitely thank you very much.
Exactly. And of course, just today, I posted a tweet about the latest episode to go up, our reviews for the Villains Month issues. And Scott already responded to us and said, awesome, I'll pull out my issues tonight. So he'll be, rereading issues in preparation for listening to an episode. So that's awesome. Over on Facebook, lots of people giving shout-outs for Green Lantern Day, talking about ring capacity and everything. So shout-outs to everybody over there, to John, to Feliciano, Mark, Jim, Dan, Rachel, and everybody, to Andre, Chris. On Valentine's Day, I said, in today's news under the category sad, whilst browsing through the $7 Blu-ray bin at Walmart, I found 8 copies of Green Lantern. That is true. 8 copies of Green Lantern just sitting in the discounted Blu-ray bin. Did some clearing up over on Facebook because between the last recorded episode and at the time I posted this, the first trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy came out. So I had to clarify that Nova came after Green Lantern. So there's that, and John and Mark and Dwayne and Dowd all piled on over there. Also talking about big news. I'll skip some of this smaller stuff. Actually, this isn't small stuff. So let me see. Okay, and then I'll let Mark talk about his product of the week thing. All right, so big stuff. Skipping over some of the rest of the smaller stuff. First big bit of news here. James is gone, guys. Lo siento. That means I'm sorry. Gone in the sense that he is no longer the producer for our show. And just for those of you who wanted to know, he stepped down himself. We didn't tell him you got to stop or you're doing a bad job. But he's been doing it for 3.5 years. So thank you so much to James for all the editing that he's done. There, when he told us that he needed to step down and devote his time to other things, what are we going to say? You've been doing this for free for us for years. You're not allowed to stop.
You're getting a pay cut.
That's right. So he's more than put in his time. It's awesome. And we thank him for all the work he's done. So if there's any delay in episodes being posted, or if there's any issue with editing, Mark and I are going to try and work on it ourselves for a little while. But of course, if anybody wants to volunteer to do the editing for us, that's also an option. But for now, Mark and I, or one or both of us, will be doing the editing. So bear with us a little bit as we kind of get into the swing of handling that as well as the actual content of the show. And there's a post over on the LanternCast page. James wrote a few short words saying goodbye. One of the funnier responses to James leaving was Lauren saying, "Oh, James, good luck with everything, and thanks for editing out all my beep, 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 and any other beeping curses I used. You were the best." And I'm sure you.
That was a full-time job right there.
That's right. uh, Also, some other big news. Mark had a birthday. That's right.
Yes, I did.
March 7th. What, he's 67?
Luckily, I'm far away from 67.
But you won't tell us how far.
45, sadly.
45, man.
A young 45.
You look good for your age.
Mm-hmm. Most people would never guess that I'm 45, so that's a plus.
Did you see that post I made on Facebook like just yesterday on my own page? I caught this 21-year-old kid.
Oh yes, the dating post.
Yeah, about to message this girl for the first time. She was maybe 42, on Plenty of Fish, and his first message to her was going to be one sentence. And again, first message to her: "Wow, you look good for your age." I was like, "Are you kidding me right now?" How are you raised in which you think that is an awesome first line to a chick on a dating website?
You're not nearly as ugly as I thought you would be.
Ridiculous. And speaking of love connections, congrats to John and Rachel because they're finally engaged.
Yay.
That's right. It was February 24th, right?
I think so.
So they've got, I don't know what kind of rings. What are these? They look like, what, tungsten maybe? Something like that?
I think so. I know tungsten is always a good choice. That's the best, to me, I think that's the best choice, at least from the male point of view. Certainly hard to scratch, almost impossible to damage those.
They're not silver because they're too dark to be silver. I think they're tungsten. I don't know. Anyways, one of them's got, I don't have the original post because all I have is the picture we put up on our page. On one side is a Star Trek badge. On the other side is the Green Lantern symbol for John's ring, and for hers it's a Mass Effect based ring. So Super Geeks got engaged, and we gave them a big old shout out. And of course, it was a long time coming. So congrats, guys!
Absolutely, congrats! You guys deserve the very best.
And I expect you to hold the wedding in Austin, so I don't have to spend any money. Just messing with you guys. That was totally selfish. Let's see. At some point, James had a birthday, but I can't find that post. That makes me feel like shit. At some point, James had a birthday. It was recent. I know that. I just can't find the post. I wonder if... I don't know. But happy birthday to James.
Yes.
Because I'm dumb. And of course, we were talking about comics with Ryan, and then talking about the new Flash costume and everything, as well as just throwing it out there. The website kind of went down and came back up, and then went down again and came back up, and we're kind of slowly rebuilding it and everything. So bear with us on that front. And then last but not least, we were talking about Mark actually posted a product of the week recently, right?
I posted, and something that on our Facebook page, obviously, actually you're the one who discovered it first, so you get all the props for this. Yeah, that the interesting S3 series of pseudo Legos. They are minifigs that to the naked eye are Legos, but they're just not official Legos, and there were 8 figures they've done in their first, and maybe there'll be more. But in the initial wave, there were 8 figures, and they represent, most of them are supposed to be anyway, HAL, as various color lanterns. But there's also a Sinestro with a really dark tan. There's an Atrocitus. There's the Big surprise of the Blue Lantern with the with the extra head that makes him say Walker, which is a really good surprise. Red Lantern Hal, Green Lantern Hal, Black Lantern Hal, White Lantern, I think technically Superman.
I say it's Kyle, but the card says Superman.
Yeah, the card does, which shocked me. You figure, oh, it's Kyle. He's got black hair. But then you look at the card because they all come. There's the 12 collector's cards that come with the figures, and it makes it. And it's supposed to be Superman. But then again, they call the Hal Orange figure Agent Orange, even though it's not Larfleeze, and they also gave him black hair. But what can you expect, especially when the collector's cards say Green Lantern with an M on it too? So what do you? But all the little nitpicking aside, they're pretty damn cool figures, and they come with little bases, and they come with little weapons. And until we have official Legos for all the cores, it's a really nice collector set. The negative is, of course, that they're not really made, or the license isn't for the United States, so you can't really buy them here in a store, but they are available overseas through the. Actually, I have to contact that store through the Philippines. Actually, they still owe me those extra boxes they were supposed to send. But we have a link where most of us who have ordered them have gotten them through a place in China that for a really cheap price with free shipping. And the link actually on our page, on the article page that I posted, I had the link to this eBay auction, which I believe is still ongoing. It's not a time limit. They just basically keep selling more quantities of. It's a really good price. I think it was like $13.99 or something for all the figures and free shipping. That it's certainly worth. It's a nice piece to add to your collection. So you should check out our website. Check out LanternCast.com and that post. And Chad has the figures too, so I think he would definitely recommend if you had an opportunity to get them, to pick them up.
Yeah, absolutely. It was Sinestro, I think. Sinestro came without an arm. He was missing an arm. And okay, for those of you who have bought Lego figures in the past, when you buy Lego, like I'm talking name brand Lego, the figures come already together. Like the pants and everything, those are already assembled, and all you basically got to do is put the head on the body and the pants on the body, and that's it. The figure is assembled. These particular figures come like with the arms detached, the hands detached, the legs detached from the pant part, that kind of thing. So you actually have to assemble the figure. But worry not, because like for instance, my Sinestro was missing an arm. All I had to do, because one of the few things I kept from my childhood is actually all the Legos I had. So I went to my Legos and I just found a black arm from one of my figures, took it off and attached it to this one. So as far as like interchanging parts and stuff, these are basically Lego figures. Like there's no part of these Legos that don't fit on an actual Lego figure, like a name brand Lego. So I don't see why we. I mean, other than the fact for being for remaining true and being completely honest about what they are, there really is no reason not to call these Lego figures. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely.
So in every sense of the word, they're totally awesome.
And a lot of the other figures they have, the minifigures they have, the Avengers and X-Men, and they have a lot, in the S series in general, they do have a lot of cool other figures and other sets available from the same seller. So they are very nice. The weapons were pretty cool. I mean, it'd be cooler, I guess, to have a construct more than a gun, even though some of the guns, I guess, you can make the case are because of the different color attachments that you can make believe that they're constructs. But the base is cool, and it definitely was there. I mean, obviously there are a few flaws, like a few mistakes. Like the Black Lantern has the White Lantern symbol on him. Mm-hmm. That's a mistake. The card is correct. The card in the box shows the Black Lantern symbol, but unfortunately the figure just has the White Lantern symbol copied over again onto the black uniform. But again, they're not official license. At least they're not in North America. They're not officially licensed products, so you have to take the good with the bad. But there's certainly a lot more good than bad when it comes to these guys.
Yeah, they're really detailed too, right?
Yeah, they're good. They're Atrocitus, I like Atrocitus. He's pretty cool. The little nuance, like the little nuances in some of the uniforms, like the difference between Red Lantern Hal and Atrocitus. I think that's pretty. And yes, and obviously Sinestro was stayed in the tanning bed a little bit too long, but
What
he's
did
still
Jason
pretty cool.
say? What did Jason say? It was like Billy D.
Yeah, he does kind of look like Billy D. Williams. and his weapon should be a Colt 45.
You truly belong with us up here among the clouds. I totally butchered that line. Did you tell him about the Blue Lantern figure?
About the same Walker?
Yeah, totally wasn't advertised either.
No, it wasn't. Yes, I mentioned it, but that's why that was one of the biggest surprises when I opened the set, because I bought 2 sets. I got one for me, one for Chad, and I opened it up and going through them
Thank
all.
you, by the way.
Oh, so you're welcome. No problem. That I think I already opened up one. I think I had opened up one color before I went to the blue, but then I noticed, because they gave you like a few extra hands and things like that, but nothing. Unfortunately for Chad, not an extra arm for Sinestro.
Yeah.
But then I get to the Blue Lantern, it's like, what's this other thing? And you couldn't see it at first because you see the back. It just looks, like a peg, a white peg. Then you realize, and you look at it, even though it doesn't have a tail in the back, but the face and the design on the face, it's like, wow, it's really supposed to be St. Walker. That's great.
It's really cool.
It is. It was a pleasant surprise, and it's like
all of my extra parts are now in the Lego bin. I don't know where the extra Hal head went, but I was like, screw Blue Lantern Hal, I'm having a St. Walker.
Yeah, that's what I did too. Actually, even though I think what I did do is I used the hair, the brown hair from that Hal, and I put him on the orange.
That's what I did. I did. Yep. So that's it for listener. Did we get another email or anything yet? I mean, it's only been a day since we've personally recorded, but
right. I checked before right when we were starting to get ready to record, and we hadn't got anything new.
Okay, cool. So before we let Mark do the closing here, for some of you who may care, some of you hate the show, some of you love it. I just saw this. Usually TV shows get renewed a season at a time. Breaking news as we record this, The Big Bang Theory has just been renewed for 3 more seasons. Not just 1 season, but 3 more seasons. That's cool.
It certainly is. It's certainly, well, it's not surprising based on the renewal. It's just, you were correct. It's not quite the normal renewal process. Usually it isn't as, you don't do it in such bulk like that. So, but that's pretty cool.
And thanks to Rachel, she's the one who's linking to the story. Big Bang Theory just made history by becoming the first program in modern scripted network television to be renewed for 3 additional seasons. The chairman of CBS Entertainment says comedy is a big part of our schedule in The Big Bang Theory. And an ad just popped up. Screw that. I don't understand these websites. They're like, hey, you should do this survey or watch this video before you can access our website. It's ridiculous. Anyways, the chairman of CBS Entertainment, Nina Tassler, says, comedy is a big part of our schedule, and The Big Bang Theory is the biggest comedy force on television. We're proud to work with and showcase the incredible talents of Chuck Lorre, Steve Molaro, and this amazing cast every week. So, basically, the way things stand now contractually, Big Bang Theory will be on the air until 2017. That's crazy.
And probably after that, until people start leaving the show.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if some of these actors started leaving the show before then.
It's possible.
Yeah, like, what's her name? The chick?
Kelly?
Yeah, Kelly,
Cuoco?
Yeah, Kaylee Cuoco.
Kaylee, I said Kelly, you're right, sorry.
Kaylee Cuoco. She's hot. I know she, in interviews and, back, behind the scenes stuff, she has a big love for the show. She loves all her fellow co-stars. But I wouldn't be surprised if she's one of the first people who would leave. Maybe Sheldon, whatever. Although I don't know if you'd have Big Bang Theory without Sheldon. So I don't know. But yeah, so Big Bang. I can't. That's surprising. I mean, not surprising because the show is good. I mean, at least for me, I know a lot of people hate it. But the popularity of the show, I'm not really surprised. But the fact that it's like not just Big Bang Theory will have another season. It's like, you know what? We're so confident and love this show so much. We're renewing it for 3 additional seasons now. That's crazy. So awesome. Do you want to take us out?
I certainly will. So, if you'd like to contact us, you can email us at LanternCast@gmail.com. LanternCast@gmail.com. You can visit our website, functioning again, LanternCast.com. You can access our forums, the forums through there. You can check out our galleries, check out our products of the week, and other things. You can follow us on Twitter. You can use hashtag GLCast. Like us on Facebook. We are on iTunes and Stitcher. And if you like us on iTunes, please, please, please leave a positive review. Last but not least, if you'd like to leave us a voicemail, call us at 708-LANTERN and let us know what you think.
And don't forget, guys, if you're emailing us or something or for the first time or messaging us in some way or another, please, 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 please tell us that how you're listening to us, because you can listen to us on Stitcher or iTunes or download from the site or listen directly from the site, so on and so forth. So just go ahead and I'm just curious. Tell us how you're listening to us. I'd like to know, because we don't get data from every source that we're on. So that would be some cool information to have. So what, next episode, Green Lantern Corps?
Yes.
Awesome. So we'll be doing the 25 to 27 treatment for Corps, New Guardians, and Red Lanterns in the next 3 episodes. So we'll talk to you guys later.
Sounds good. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
But just because you like something in a book doesn't mean you can have the thing you like in the book happen in real life. That's what crazy people want. I can't go to the White House with a bunch of Green Lantern comics and go, I want a Green Lantern ring. I saw it in a book I like. Make the thing in the book I like be here now. I would be justifiably tased if I did that. Nobody would go, hey, we have to respect his beliefs. You know, you've got to respect everybody's beliefs. No, you don't.